Welcome your hosts, Caddy, Frink, and Sarah Kemp, as they lead discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Here we are yet again.
Yay!
Hi, my name's Caddy Frink. Who are you?
I'm Sarah Kemp.
Just like the ice cream.
Just like the ice cream.
Oh, here we are. It feels like a month since I've been here, and
I
it
know.
hasn't really been that long. But
A
there's
week.
yeah, two. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't even know.
Something like that.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950, the Progressive Radio Station.
Oh, so fancy.
I know. So we are glad that you're here. We've got some really fun stuff to talk about. Sarah, what's right with you today?
I think what's right with me today is having a loving home life.
Ooh.
Because I have come home grumpy from work sometimes this last couple of weeks. And instead of letting my grumpiness get to my boyfriend, he just loves me and just lets me be grumpy for like an hour. And then I'm back to my usual self, but just
charming self.
but just accepting where I'm at and not trying to fix it.
Yeah.
That's huge for me.
Well, it's literally what we try to do at work, but it's so hard to do sometimes because, Eric will want to fix something. Your Eric will want to fix something. It's like, we don't need you to.
No, I just need you to let me just be me.
Yeah.
For an hour, and then I'll come back.
Need a pause.
I need some dinner, and then I'll be fine.
Exactly.
It's usually what it is. It's food.
Yeah.
I'm eating food, and I'll be fine.
That little hangry thing going on.
But no, just having a loving, solid foundation at home can then play other roles in the other parts of my life. So.
Totally.
Caddy, what's right with you today?
Well, the gardener wannabe extraordinaire is so excited that the sun is coming out, the warmth is beginning to come out. Driving today, all the trees that are the flowering trees are all in bloom right now.
We went for a walk last night, and there's cherry blossoms in our neighborhood, and you could the smell of them
in the air. I know. I mean, as I was driving today to come to the show, I was just block after block after block after block of these beautiful flowering trees of all different kinds. And I'm like, this is what this week, this like 2 weeks looks like. So, which means that other things are blooming and growing. So I'm just so grateful that I get to get out into my garden this weekend and putter around. I don't, what's so, some people have their headphones, some people have music, some people listen to news. This is the one time where I just tune it all out. I am me and Mother Earth. And that's truly what I enjoy the most.
You're going to be so sore on Monday. I can already tell.
Totally. Yes.
I already know you.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm doing some attic cleaning again as well. So
my goodness,
watch out, world. Caddy's getting organized.
It's a good thing. New season, new
stuff.
There we go.
Yes. I brought 3 bags of clothing to the Goodwill last night, or to my little very special up north. No, up something place on 66th and Penn. But I was like, getting rid of it.
Good.
Yes. Cleaning out.
Yes.
Well, the show that we have today is going to look somewhat different, but it always has to do with recovery, doesn't it? Always and truly and forever. But there are key players that have been in our community for a long time. There are still massive amounts of key players, but we want to do a recognition of a woman named Nell Hurley. And Nell Hurley is, I sadly have to say, was an amazing woman. She was one of the founding executive directors of Minnesota Recovery Connection. So remembering that this whole program comes to you from Minnesota Recovery Connection. And Nell started back with Minnesota Recovery Connection back in 2010. So
very, very, very beginning.
The very beginning. And it was sort of like this little organization that was trying to figure out what it was. And then Nell came in and actually was the first executive director, that founding person, and really put together this teeny tiny itty bitty little dream that we had, that peer recovery services, which are what, Sarah?
They are one-to-one individualized recovery coaching sessions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And within that, we were able to build out different volunteer opportunities, different service opportunities, work with different communities, work with different organizations, build our own training to do peer recovery specialist training, which is what I do now, which was originated by Nell and the community at the time. So I literally am on the, what do they say? I'm on the heels of greatness.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well, our whole organization is.
Absolutely. So one of the things about Nell is that she really believed that peer recovery services and peer support and education and advocacy, which are our pillars of how we do things, are how we do things. Mm-hmm. And if we continue to believe that one-on-one is really the magical space, we're going to be honoring Nell. And she was a woman in long-term recovery herself. She lifted up our community. She really believed in all the pathways, as many of the founding individuals did, made sure that we are not the only one out there. We were for a long time, but then believed that community is really what builds recovery. We have to have community to build recovery.
Because what is that saying? Recovery is connection. Or you know what that's saying, right?
Yes. I was going to say Nell Hurley. That would not be who I'm saying. Johann Hari. The opposite of addiction is human connection.
There we go.
Yes.
That's what I was looking for.
The opposite of addiction is human connection. And that really is the essence of it all. So let's all just say a shout out to Nell Hurley. She died just about a month ago. About 2 weeks ago. There was an honor given out in her memory to the organization called MARCO, which is the Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations. We got so many acronyms in our world.
Yes, we do. It's hard to keep them straight sometimes.
It is, but one of the incredible executive directors of Minnesota Recovery Connection, which is Wendy Jones, who I worked predominantly under, started this organization called MARCO. We just call it MARCO because it's easy. Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations. That just is so long-winded.
It is.
So we're just going to go with MARCO. But MARCO has had its second summit this year, and Nell was recognized as being one of the amazing humans that brought us to where we are today. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about what that summit was about, because we talk a lot about what are the stories about recovery, the achievements, some of the setbacks people have, some of the different challenges people have. And then we talk all about all the pathways, right, Sarah?
All the time.
Tell me more pathways.
Well, for me.
Yeah, for you.
Baking.
Learning
how to make bread has been
the thing
for me. Coloring, doing those sticker coloring books and their cats when they're all said and done.
Not that we have a cat theme going on here in any part of our relationship.
Or my cat didn't want to just be on the computer with me all morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so nice.
She was right there.
She wanted her kitty paw prints in on it. So when we talk about pathways, really, I was having a conversation with Kim, one of our certified peer recovery specialists this morning, and she was talking about how she has, individuals in her midst that some are in recovery and some are not. And that when you're in early recovery, it's finding those pathways to recovery that are super important.
And figuring out and finding out that recovery is not boring.
Exactly. It
might be in the beginning, because you're trying to work through a lot of things.
Kind of establish who you are again.
Yes. But eventually it gets fun.
Yeah. And when we come back from break, I'm going to share something that Kim said to me. And I think it was really profound in terms of how to look at somebody who's in early recovery. And you're going to have to remember, Sarah, because we're going to enlist this into the training. See, okay. I'm like roping you all in, like 360 on this.
And she's putting on the radio so we don't forget.
Yes. It's going to be in verbal documentation. But what I want to say is thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery. It's really great to be behind the mic again with Sarah Kemp.
Like the ice cream.
And so thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950, the progressive radio station where magic happens in every way. So thank you for listening. We'll see you back on the flip side. We've all seen the man at the liquor store begging for you. Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
You're going to try to make that a musical,
Hello, everybody. I was just dancing in my seat to that beautiful song. I kind of came in a little faster. Poor Brett couldn't keep up with me, but that's okay. Thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution. Yeah, it takes a village to keep this all going, folks. So thank you to all of the individuals at AM 950.
Yes.
To hornswoggle us in. I'm going to use all the terms that poor Sarah has no idea what they are because I'm just that old.
You're not old.
Well, I'm mature. We have to admit that. Yes, I'm mature.
And wise.
And wise. Oh, she's buttering me up, folks. Who's buttering me up?
Nobody.
Who
Sarah.
Are you?
I'm Sarah. Sorry.
No, reintroduce yourself, you goober. So, yeah, it's a day here, folks. So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution, brought to you by Minnesota Recovery Connection. And then a marvelous donation from a lovely human, and their initials, the initials are M and S. They're fabulous. So we had an amazing conference. Would you not agree, this past Monday and Tuesday?
Yes, we did, with the Marco team.
The Marco team. And what this was a summit that brought all of the recovery community organizations, also some treatment centers, places that do peer-to-peer services, which is what we are boasting about all the time. And the interesting part about it is that I say that we all have a secret sauce, right?
We do.
Each one of the recovery community organizations in the state and then around the country kind of have their own special little space.
Yes. Because you have to.
Yeah.
Because that helps you stand out from the other recovery community organizations.
Because usually the executive director and the team that they build in have some sort of lived experience that literally is what they want to focus on, as well as the other important components.
Yes.
So in the when we just recognized Nell Hurley in the beginning, really what that was about was bringing in community, Minnesota Recovery Connection, and bringing in the ability to look at recovery not just from a treatment model, which is just fine, but that's one pathway, as we've talked about. So we had a couple of amazing speakers that were part of the event that took place on Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to recognize two of them, and we had breakout sessions, and then we had formal learning sessions, and one of the individuals was a woman named Carolina Ayala. I'm mispronouncing that because I don't know the proper. It's Ayala. She is from California, and she is one of the keynotes that came from her organization, which I will find for you in a
Find Happiness.
Find Happiness. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Well, you have a co-host.
Gosh darn it, a girl couldn't be more happy. And she's, I was kind of surprised. I didn't know that California didn't have a lot of recovery community.
I didn't know that either.
I know. I was like, they're on the brink of.
I thought they were more, I don't know if progressive is the right term, but that's the word that comes to mind.
I think what I have learned is that they have a lot of peer recovery services, but they don't have a lot of recovery community organizations, which are the nonprofit world. So they have the position of peer recovery specialist and certified peer recovery specialist within their treatment models, within their mental health models, but they don't have that groundbreaking grassroots
like
recovery community organizations and other states. And so it was really interesting to hear Carolina talk about how it took her some really strong lived experience, because she was a woman who had experience with the justice impacted, using substances, had some
Child and Family Services
actually lost a child. So she had a lot of lived experience to bring in to say, you know what, substances made the pain go away for a while. And then, bam, what are we doing here, folks? Because I think what I caught, and correct me if I'm wrong, that treatment worked for her, but it wasn't her solution.
No, I think you're right. And I think that's a message that I hear quite frequently, actually, because treatment is only for 30, 60, 90 days. If you're lucky to have the 60 or 90. And 30 days is not enough time to truly start
a new life,
getting into the root of things, you can start doing it, but you're in this bubble.
Right.
And I know for me personally, when I came out of Hazleton, I was in this bubble. And then I didn't feel like I was prepared to come out of that bubble and be back in the real world.
Yeah. And take on all of that the real world has.
And I had no idea. I mean, this was 2017. I didn't even know peer services was a thing.
I know. And it's, to us, it's like we've been living in it for so many years. Me personally living in it longer than you. It's like, well, duh.
Right. Now it's like, duh. And the other path and honoring all pathways is a duh. And that 12 steps, not knocking it. If it's your jam, I love that for you. But realizing that's not the only way. Because I thought, because I didn't like meetings, they weren't my thing. I thought I was doing recovery wrong.
Yeah.
And I had no idea there were these other ways
and options. Yeah. I think I wanted to share, I had a conversation with Kim Lawson today. She's one of our certified peer recovery specialists that has really just, she's a mature woman as well. And she was talking about her experience talking to individuals. She goes to the Anoka County jail system and does programming, we'll call it, which is just really bringing in the services that we do and helping.
And harm reduction education, I know too.
Yes, and harm reduction education, and just really helping people sort of navigate they're in jail right now and they're going to get out. And how do you cope with that? And one of the things she talked about with one of the women, so everybody put this in your mind. You've got an individual that a friend, a family member, a partner, a community member, somebody down the street that has been struggling with substance use disorder. And she used this beautiful analogy of when somebody is struggling with substance use disorder and they are trying to figure out how to get better. It's like they have a heavy, heavy backpack on and they are on a hill, on an incline, and they're trying to desperately just move through all the different things that you have to navigate, and feelings and emotions and judgment and
shame, the guilt and all that stuff you're working through.
So imagine a person who is trying to find their recovery. That's kind of the visual picture that somebody is carrying on them. And then you've got somebody who is in their early recovery. Let's say they're in their first month, 2 months, 2 years, 3 years. Think about that in terms of they are 1 month old. I know. I thought this was like.
Is this what we're putting in the training?
Yep.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Think about it. They're 1 month into sort of like growing into their new world. Now they might be an adult, 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50, and they have the adulting going on, but now they have to put on this whole new world of being in recovery with all this baggage that they're carrying with them.
And depending on what substances or substance they used, brain chemistry can be affected. And so that plays a huge factor as well.
Put that in the backpack, mental, way of coping. And I thought, so anybody who has either come out of recovery and is doing well, you've emptied out that backpack and that incline has kind of come down. If anybody's ever been on one of those silly treadmills, exercise machinery, goo gab things, when you bring down the incline, it gets easier. Well, so can recovery, but it takes a while to get comfortable with coming down is the hardest part. If you're going to start high on that incline, you're going to get exhausted. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to say, I want to just, I don't want to do this. And then add a backpack onto it with all the emotions, like you said, the brain chemistry, the withdrawal that somebody's going through. There's all those different factors. And I thought, Kim, you are brilliant. You are brilliant anyway, but what a great visual to put on it.
I like that.
Yeah. And I think, so anybody who loves somebody or anybody who's literally in recovery, think about how well you have begun to take some of the icky things out of the backpack. And then maybe you got a bucket on the side that's actually your toolkit.
Yeah.
That you get to pick up and put down and pick up and put down rather than constantly carry it on your back. Wow, I like that. That was good.
You're gonna have to
we'll have to write that down. But it's a way to kind of see that it's a struggle. It's a struggle to find recovery. And recovery community organizations that we have in Minnesota are the spaces and places where we understand the struggle as well as treatments do, as community members do, organizations do. But we live in a world where we're trying to help people on that one-to-one basis. So if this is like a metaphor for understanding people's struggle, it's like, oh yeah, your backpack's pretty full right now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that incline on that, what is it?
Treadmill.
Can I see? I'm not an exercise kind of gal. It's feeling a little lifted up right now. So what do you think of that analogy?
I really like it. And it makes it easier to understand. I think for someone who might not be in the recovery, just in recovery. Period. Yeah. My brain just stopped for a second. I don't know. But I think it makes it an easier way for someone to understand it.
Yeah.
And how hard it is for some people.
Yep. And then also explaining it to a person who is going through it right now. It's like, you got a backpack, you got a hill, you're struggling, you know? So what we want to do, human, is we want to give you the ability to take some of those things out of the backpack, lower the incline, and say it's okay. But then also remembering that somebody is still in those early stages. So they're not thinking necessarily like the adult that they are. They're still in that infancy stage, or that, 2 or 3 year old. It takes a while for a 2 or 3 year old. You just need a lot of love. You need a lot of support.
And also, not to get too technical, but I've also in my education learned that whatever age you started using substances, you could potentially stop growing emotionally at that age.
Yeah.
So that can play a factor too.
Well, think about it. So I really started drinking when I was about 19 years old. You're not very smart at 19. That's for sure. I'm sure. You think you know everything in the world.
Of course you do.
Yeah. I mean, you're 19. You've lived all these 19 years. Everything you've ever learned is right there in front of you, except for life.
And what it all can throw at you.
And then I started using alcohol, and I just sort of I got stuck in that. Then it wasn't until I was 39 that I found not using alcohol. I kind of had to spin the wheels back to age 19, like you said, and kind of learn how to function without that friend of mine.
That friend of yours.
That friend that took away the pain, took away the shame, took away the insecurities, took away the vulnerabilities. That's kind of risky. It took away a lot of just the inability, the lack of capacity to just kind of function. But booze was just a great pal. Just
it
like
was
for
until
you.
It wasn't.
Yeah. And then you started using methamphetamine to do what? What was the impetus of that? Because
it's not radio friendly.
Okay, it's not radio friendly. So she started using a substance, and it took away all the inhibitions.
Eventually, and the thing with methamphetamine, for those that don't know, it is highly addictive.
Right.
So I started using it for one reason, and then it flipped a switch for me. And it was early 20s for me when I started, and now that I'm 37, 6 years into my recovery.
Sure, I love it.
I still feel like I'm 20 something some days. And like now I'm the director of community relations and volunteer director. And I'm like, how did I get to this point? I don't know.
I don't know sometimes either.
But I don't feel like I'm adult enough, even though I am. But
Right.
sometimes mentally, I'm like, I am not adult enough for this job, even though I am.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting, because at my age and what I'm doing now, sometimes I feel like I'm an absolute imposter.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. And that's because we got stunted.
Yes.
And we had to we kind of got stuck. And then now we came into our adulthood. Now I'm technically 25 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Lord, help me.
I don't think you want to be 25 again.
I do, if I could do it in recovery, not in the phase that I was in. Anyway, that gets all off into the wild, wild west of Caddy. But it's we're talking about, if anybody's listening to this, you're like, what are these two talking about? It is a process to find recovery. It's a process to heal from the disease of addiction. It is a process to remature. You might be an adult, but you are not necessarily in your your body and mind, even though you're chronologically an age.
Yeah.
You are still growing into this new space. And I think that's what Kim Lawson said to me. She said, we have to remember and remind people who love people who are there, but also the people who are in it. You know what? You're still kind of young in this. You might be
Figuring
30.
it out.
You might be 30, but you're only 2 months into it. I'm just got to just fill you up with a whole bunch of love.
Yeah, because at 2 months,
yeah,
that's sucky.
Yeah, and as a little baby, you're doing that too. So I went really inappropriate there for a hot minute. So hopefully somebody caught that, and if they did, they're laughing right now. So well, let's talk about some of these things that we went through at the Marco, the Minnesota Recovery Community, the Minnesota Alliance of Recovery Community Organizations gathering. And the reason why I want to do this is I'd like everybody to know that as a recovery community organization and the organizations around the country, there's a lot of really great work being done. And these are just some of the topics that we talked about. So Sarah, why don't you read the first couple, 2 or 3 from the 10:30 to 11:30 session.
Okay. So faith, culture, and recovery, creating safe healing spaces for Muslim and East African communities.
So that's important because we have to recognize culture is part of recovery as much as culture is a part of how people live. So different cultures need sometimes a special sauce, like we're talking about, to be able to find their journey.
Yes. And for the community to accept where they're at
within their own.
Yep.
Yes, very much.
Then we had justice involved peer support with Justin McNeil and Sean Parch. They're 2 big advocates in the justice involved
and I
community.
I sat in on this particular one, and we all know, myself included, you included, we have justice impacted backgrounds. I might be pretty far away, and there maybe
in the kitten club, if anything.
Yeah, we are total kitten club gals, but there's a lot of individuals that have not kitten club backgrounds and are still seeking recovery, and they need to have some special sauce. So good people who can help them is really what's good for them.
And then we had human resources management, what every RCO should know.
Recovery community organization.
Cynthia and I sat through that one.
Oh, she got big eyes here, folks. If you can see, she got really big eyes.
I did. Cynthia and I learned a lot about just how to have human resources within a recovery community organization. So that was helpful for us because we're not just helping people all day, every day. We have to make sure that we run our organization properly so we can stay open.
Right. And we have employees, which means you need human resources. Yep. Yeah.
And then peers leading the way, building collaboration without losing your voice. I did not sit in on that one.
Neither did I. So peers leading the way, building collaboration without losing their voice. The idea here is that collaboration is you can't have a nonprofit organization without having collaboration. Community is critical, but it's very easy for people to lose their space or place if they don't have their voice. So it's very important when you're collaborating not to lose your place at the proverbial table. When you come into the table, you need to not be on the menu. You need to have a voice there. I know, I love that analogy. It's so good. You want to be at the table, not on the menu.
Yes, you do.
So then one of the other speakers we had, her name is Dr. Mary Robertson, and she was a dynamo.
Yes, she was.
She could
not get hurt. Her energy was infectious.
Absolutely infectious. She comes from Illinois, so she's the Northern Illinois Recovery Community Organization, and she found that her community in Northern Illinois, in Waukegan, I think is the name of the town or the city, was just really struggling. And so she worked with a church. She worked with that had some space. She found some funding. She actually put some money into this from the very beginning so that she could run it. But she has got a very successful recovery community organization. And I know there are more in the Illinois area.
I think she was one of the first, if I remember her saying that right.
Okay, sure. I'll roll with that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna just roll with that.
Sure.
So some of the other conversations, we're telling you these conversations because doing the work is so much more than just helping people, but helping people, we have to know a lot of different topics because there's a lot going on.
And stay educated ourselves.
Right, exactly. So the pause process, strengthening family connections as a protective factor. Critically important to have the family be part of both the helping somebody and then understanding somebody.
Yes.
Because if we bring somebody who goes out and gets some recovery time, what happens is if they go back into the same environment, experiencing the same things, sometimes that can be a recipe for everybody's disaster.
Can be.
Because they're all swimming in the same sandbox, but nobody's built a castle.
Wow.
I know. I like that.
You're on fire today.
Wow. I'm back at it.
You must have gotten some good sleep.
I did. I'm sleeping so much better after the last couple of weeks. Let me tell you.
And then we got building the foundation, practical skills for peer supervision. Again, that is very important. Peers need to be properly supervised and feel they have support from their supervisors. So it was a really helpful session for me to go to.
Yeah. It's just like when you're doing a job, you need to have a manager, you need to have a supervisor, you need to have somebody that you can run to when you don't know what's going on next. And how do you manage that? And then one of the other ones was building a recovery community organization board of directors toolkit. I didn't go to that one. Did you?
No, I think Cynthia and Darnell did.
Yes. So our executive director and our operations director went to that one. Building a board. If anybody's ever wants to have an organization, guess what? Nonprofit, got to have a board of directors. And it can't just be your friends and family. It's got to be people who are invested.
For real invested and not just, they got to talk. Oh, wait. They have to talk the walk.
Walk the talk and talk the walk.
Yeah.
Walk the.
You know what I'm trying to say.
They got to walk the walk and talk the talk.
There we go.
Walk the walk and talk the talk of an organization, not just their personal beliefs. Because there's an element of having to have a objective perspective on organizations. Then we had civil engagement 101 or civic engagement. When we're talking about civic engagement, we really need to understand that when you are involved in an organization, you have to keep the line clear, keep your organization on the straight and narrow, make sure that you are engaged in appropriate policies, procedures, activities, all those things. So being civic minded and also bringing people into community.
And then we had gambling. It's a real addiction, what you need to know and the available resources. There's not a whole lot for gambling out there that I know of. Personally,
there are, but they are few and far between. There's some really amazing. I went to a day-long seminar on gambling, and I just got to tell you, folks, that it is kind of like the hidden addiction. When you're dealing with substances, sometimes somebody can be drunk and it's very obvious because they can be out on the street or driving or get arrested, or somebody's using.
Signs.
There are signs, and other people are using big chemicals and they're slumped over and they're acting inappropriate. Gambling is on your cell phone. It is in your house. It is on your computer. Maybe you're in Vegas, where it's all acceptable. It is a hidden addiction that is hitting particularly young males really hard. So a voice to anybody who has young men particularly, but anybody old, otherwise women, it don't matter who you are. But because you can do gambling on your phone now, just about anywhere, and Minnesota just passed something new about being able to bet on like civic things, like is Governor Walz going to win, or is Amy Klobuchar going to win, or whatever. You can't bet on those anymore. They've stopped. I think that's what happened, but that's what there's betting on, things like that. Who's going to win a race in a city, in a town, and people are betting real money on this. And so when they lose, they're losing money, which can change the trajectory of anybody's life.
And there's commercials now too. I mean, I know there's always been commercials, but I've just noticed it more now.
About gambling?
No, well, like the betting. Online casinos and things like that. So.
Yeah, no, it's very prevalent and it's very dangerous. So thank you for listening. We're going to take our last break. This is Caddy, Frink, and
Sarah Kemp.
And we will be back with Redefining Recovery Revolution on what radio station?
AM 950.
The Progressive Radio Station. Catch you soon.
This guitar needs 6.
It's about the best singing I'm ever going to do for y'all. I'll just follow some beautiful woman's voice. So, hi, this is Kat. Hi. Oh my goodness. It is definitely a day that the weather is beautiful and I'm just in an awesome mood because I get to be exactly where I want to be right now, which
We're
is
just a little goofy.
I know, but I just am so happy to be back in this space. My name is Caddy Frink. I'm your host of Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. Who is across the table?
I'm Sarah Kemp, your co-host of Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution.
On what radio station?
AM 950, the progressive radio station.
Yeah, baby. Okay, so the next class that we did was compassion fatigue.
Done by your host,
Caddy Frink. So I was fortunate enough, we at Minnesota Recovery Connection were fortunate enough to get a micro grant, and I was able to put together an 8-part series on compassion fatigue that I condensed into 1 hour. So I had 8 hours and I made it into 1 hour. Wow, that was
a lot of that. I feel like that one was highly attended because it's so important to remember burnout can happen, what the warning signs are, and not just in our industry, world, field, whatever word you want to use. It can happen anywhere,
anytime with anything. I mean, one of the things I pointed out, and of course I'm going to talk about it because it's my jam, so maybe I should do this as a show. I don't know, just dawned on me. Might be a good show. Yeah, you write that down. But because of the political environment, the economic environment, our home environments, our work environments, these are all components to compassion fatigue, folks. So it isn't just work where it's not going well. It's not just because your political candidate is not in office. It's all of the things about where you circulate your life. So remember, compassion fatigue can just be you are mentally exhausted listening to stuff, or your person is driving you cuckoo cuckoo at home. That can be compassion fatigue. Not looking at Sarah, her person is very lovely, but that can be it. What was the other one?
Recovery Community Organizations Evaluation Framework. That sounds real technical.
Intense, yes. But every organization, big, small, nonprofit, profit, whatever, has to evaluate how they're doing work. So
because that's how they know they're staying on track.
Exactly. So where are we on our sheets of paper?
I think we're done with day 1.
Okay. I think I went into day 2. Who knows where we are? So then we had a really good breakout session, not a breakout session, a community session that had talked to Randy Anderson, Justin Bell, and Chris Kelly. They did a big conversation about what the workforce looks like. And this is something that we always talk about. There's many different facets to doing peer recovery specialist work. And we as a field, we need to make sure that we're doing what needs to be done. We all know about the fraud and abuse. We are totally all up to snuff on that. But to do good work, we have to have well-trained, informed, educated peer recovery specialists to be able to do the work, in which case the workforce has to know what's right and what's wrong. And a lot of the work that we do requires grants and all kinds of different funding sources, and we have to produce data.
And research.
And that's another important component to the work that we do. So what's another thing that we do? The brain and SUD, the brain and substance use disorder. I did that one. And I'll tell you, I'm a geek monster extraordinaire on the science of addiction and the brain chemistry. So I'm just saying it's really super interesting. What else you got there, Sarah?
I have leading in recovery when compassion and accountability meet. I think we both went to that one.
No, it was Seeley and McCoy.
Yes, that was a good one because it just reminded me that we're not all perfect in the way that we... Surprise. I mean, Caddy is. I'm not. Okay, I'm not perfect.
I'm just kidding.
But we're not always going to get it right every time. But taking that moment and learning from it is the most important thing. And not letting it get to you that you may have done it not the way you wanted it to, but learning how to do it right better the next time.
And also informing who you're working with, that I'm still, even if we can't quite get this right, we still have to hold one another accountable. Accountability in the work that we do is like paramount.
Well, and especially now.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Especially right now.
Yes. There was a class on artificial intelligence done by Sean Parch. AI is coming into everything that we do.
Which I don't really know how I feel about that, to be honest with you.
You know, because AI is about what has happened already. And when you're putting together a recovery plan for a person who is on their journey and their outcome is yet to come, AI can be a good vocabulary helper, but not projecting anything.
I know Darnell, he uses the chat GPT, I don't even know. I know he uses that for some of his stuff, but he doesn't overuse it.
No.
I think that's my concern with this whole AI thing, is that people are going to get real comfortable with it, and then documentation is just not going to be authentic.
Personal. Yeah, it's not going to be personal. I think you can use it to help you write a letter. You could help to write it a speech.
Right.
You can use it to help you kind of fluff up things.
But documentation, I don't.
It has to be used very carefully.
I'm old school, I guess.
Yeah, well, we're talking to the old school right here. We talked about grant writing, which is without grant writing and knowing how to do it. Wendy Jones, the director of Marco, did that one, and I know Cynthia's head was spinning on that one.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
We also had a session from Justin McNeil about a peer approach to working with life sentences, which is something I know that you've encountered more or less when you've gone into the variety of Department of Corrections for people that have taken your class that are serving life sentences.
Yep.
So that's another important key to our role sometimes, depending on which area you work in.
Yep. And you know what I can say is that individuals who have done a life sentence, and this is, I tapped into the last few minutes of his class, but one of the closing remarks that Justin had, which I think was extraordinarily accurate, and that is the individuals who have done a life sentence in the Department of Corrections come out and they are the least likely to have any additional offense, mainly because they've done a lot of time. And another big component is they've done a lot of self-improvement. They come out with BAs, they come out with work, they come out with degrees in terms of like some of the blue collar, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, I mean, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of things that they come out with. They might be more mature, and also they're more mature. They're not the kids that they were that went in.
And they're like, I don't want to go through that again.
Well,
I'm guessing. I don't know.
They don't want to go. I'll promise you, they don't want to go back. I can say that for absolute assurance. So anyway, what we've done is we've kind of given you like this snapshot of what it takes to run the organizations like we have at Minnesota Recovery Connection and all the other recovery community organizations. And what I'm going to also plug in that is, if you believe that our organizations do amazing things, we are always in funding crunches, particularly right now. Some of you can give dollars, some of you can give hundreds of dollars, maybe some of you can give thousands of dollars. Understand that our work is so community-based and people-based. And if we can't have doors that we can open or Zoom rooms that we can open.
Zoom rooms?
Zoom rooms. We can't help as many people. So if you have the ability to donate to Minnesota Recovery Connection, what is that spot? The donation spot on our...
It's on our website. I think it's on our homepage now. I think Darnell put it right on the homepage, our donation link. And we also have the roundup where you can choose Minnesota Recovery Connection as an organization. And when you round up when you're shopping, it automatically donates to us.
Yeah. So, this is a plead for support, because a lot of the organizations are struggling. As many of us know, the human services is one of the areas that has been hit currently. And all I ask is that if you can do, if you can't, know that we still got your back.
Always.
So thank you for listening to
Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution here on AM 950.
Yes, Sarah, you're so good. Thank you for listening. Be well. Take care of yourselves. If you need any help, minnesotarecovery.org. Give us a call, 612-584-4158. Yeah, I think that's right.
And do some self-care.
Yeah.